Everybody is talking about how Arsenal time waste. Nobody is talking about the fact that every other team in this league does exactly the same thing when they are winning. The difference is Arsenal are winning more than anyone else, and that makes people uncomfortable. Welcome to Andy Gunners Live. I am Andrew, and if that first line already has you typing in the comments, good. That is exactly what this channel is for. Real opinions, real football, no filler. Subscribe right now, turn on notifications, like this video, because tomorrow we are breaking down one of the most fascinating FA Cup fifth round ties in years. Arsenal making their first trip to Mansfield in 97 years, and I have got a full tactical breakdown, the real injury picture, the expected lineup, and a verdict that some of you are absolutely not going to agree with. Stay until the end. You will want to hear all of it. Tomorrow is Saturday, the 7th of March, 2026. Kickoff at the One Call Stadium in Mansfield is at 12:15 in the afternoon. If you are in the UK, you can watch it live on TNT Sports. If you are in the States, ESPN has you covered. Sony Live for India, Stan Sport for our Australian Gooners. This is the FA Cup fifth round, and Arsenal are here. The Premier League leaders, the team that is unbeaten in 10 consecutive games across all competitions, the team that is fighting on four fronts, the Premier League, the FA Cup, the UEFA Champions League, and the EFL Cup. Mikel Arteta's side have built something genuinely special this season, and tomorrow they come to a ground that holds over 100 years of Football League history to face a side that have had their own magical cup run and are dreaming of the biggest scalp of their lives. I want to be straight with you. Arsenal should win this game. They should win it comfortably, but football does not care what should happen, and in the FA Cup, what should happen has a habit of being completely ignored. So let us break this down properly. 7 points clear at the top of the Premier League. Read that again. 7 points. After Manchester City dropped points at home to Nottingham Forest in midweek, Arsenal extended their lead with a 1-0 win over Brighton at the Amex. It was not pretty. Opposition head coach Fabian Hürzeler came out after the game and made very clear that in his view, only one team tried to play football that night. He pointed to Arsenal's time-wasting tactics, the slow restarts, the game management. And here is what I will say about that. He is not entirely wrong. Arsenal averaged 31.4 seconds between restarts on Wednesday night. That is slower than their usual tempo. But let me give you the full picture, because context matters. Brighton themselves averaged 38.7 seconds between restarts when they beat Manchester City at home earlier this season. 33.7 seconds when they beat Chelsea away. 33.2 seconds when they beat Brentford away. Every team manages the game when they have a lead. Every single one. Arsenal won. Arsenal extended their Premier League lead. And Arsenal are now 10 games unbeaten. Say what you want about the style, the numbers do not lie. But there is a genuine question Arteta has to answer about freshness. This squad has been playing every 3 days for the majority of 26. They have had 1 week's rest since the new year. They face Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League next Wednesday and Everton in the Premier League the following weekend. Tomorrow is an opportunity to rest key legs and give squad players the chance to prove their worth in a competitive cup tie. That rotation plan is absolutely the correct call. And we will get into the expected lineup in full detail shortly. Let me give Mansfield the full respect they deserve here, because they have earned it. Nigel Clough's side pulled off one of the results of this season's FA Cup when they beat Burnley 2-1 in the fourth round. Lewis Reed, their captain and heartbeat in midfield, scored a stunning free kick that night. It was exactly the kind of moment that makes the FA Cup what it is. A League One club, a capacity crowd at the One Call Stadium, and a moment of pure brilliance, sending a Premier League club home. But I want to be honest with you about where Mansfield are right now, because the cup tie lives inside a league season, and that league season has been difficult. Mansfield are currently 16th in League One. They are only 5 points above the relegation zone. They have not won in 9 league games. 9, that is a run that tells you something is not clicking for Clough in the day-to-day grind of the third tier. The goals have dried up. 5 goals in 9 league games. That is a deeply concerning return for a team that needs results to stay in this division. Clough has struggled to find the right attacking combinations, and the pressure in the league is building quietly in the background, even as the cup spotlight shines on the club. Now, the cup provides what Clough himself has called a moment of relief. A reset. A chance to go out in front of a full house against the best team in England and throw everything at them without the weight of relegation anxiety. And Nigel Clough is not naive. He knows Arsenal. He said publicly this week that Arteta's side could demolish them if the game opens up. That is a manager being honest about the reality of what he is facing. But he also pointed out what he believes are the conditions that could make this competitive. And one of those conditions is the pitch. I want to spend a moment on this because it matters tactically. Field Mill, renamed the One Call Stadium, is the oldest Football League ground in the country. It has history embedded in every stand, and it also has a pitch that, in early March, after a winter of League One football, is not the Emirates. The surface at the One Call Stadium has taken a beating this season. It is patchy, uneven in places, and carries that heavy quality that slows the ball and changes the rhythm of games. Arsenal play at a tempo that relies heavily on quick passing, precision movement, and sharp interchanges. A sticky, unpredictable surface disrupts all of that. It forces longer balls. It creates loose touches. It rewards physicality over technique. Mansfield play with exactly the kind of physicality and direct approach that can exploit those conditions. If the ball is not rolling cleanly, if first touches are bobbling, if the pitch takes a bounce away from a defender at the wrong moment, then suddenly the gap between Premier League quality and League One determination gets smaller. Arteta knows this. He will have spoken to his players about it all week. He will have emphasized patience, discipline, and not taking risks on the ball in dangerous areas. But knowing it and executing it, especially with a rotated lineup, are two different things. The pitch is not a reason to panic, but it is a legitimate factor in how this game could develop. And Clough will set his team up to make full use of it. This is where the team news gets genuinely important ahead of tomorrow. Let me take you through every confirmed status. Mikel Merino is out for the season. He underwent surgery on a fractured foot in February and will not be seen again in an Arsenal shirt this campaign until the very end of May at the earliest. That is a massive blow to Arteta's midfield depth. Merino had been exceptional when fit, offering the physical presence and technical quality that gave Arsenal a completely different look in the middle of the park. William Saliba is being protected tomorrow. He picked up a knock that has kept him out of recent games, and while there is hope he will return for the Bayer Leverkusen Champions League tie on Wednesday, Arteta will not risk him against Mansfield. Saliba is too important. He is arguably the best centre-back in the Premier League right now. You do not gamble with that. Martin Odegaard remains a doubt. The knee issue that has kept him sidelined recently is being managed very carefully. Like Saliba, the Leverkusen game is the target for his return. Playing him on a heavy Mansfield pitch against a physical League One side would be an unnecessary gamble. Ben White has missed 3 consecutive matches with a knock and there is no confirmed return date. He is a significant absentee at right back, and with Mansfield's potential for direct physical play down the flanks, that position will need to be managed carefully tomorrow. Miles Lewis-Skelly is suspended. 2 yellow cards in consecutive matches have ruled the teenager out. That is a genuine absence because Lewis-Skelly's energy, his press, and his ability to combine along the left have been one of the stories of Arsenal's season. Kai Havertz made it back from injury recently, but his minutes are being carefully managed. He was on the bench at Brighton and came on late. Tomorrow, he could get a fuller run out with the opportunity to find his rhythm ahead of bigger fixtures. Now, let us talk about how Arsenal will actually line up tomorrow. Arteta has already indicated that this is a game for rotation, and the names in the frame for starting are exciting from a squad depth perspective. Kepa Arrizabalaga starts in goal. The Spaniard, signed in the summer, provides excellent cup cover for David Raya and has impressed when called upon. Sharp reflexes, commanding presence, good with his feet. He is more than capable of handling what Mansfield will throw at him. At the back, with Saliba and White both unavailable, Arteta turns to his alternatives. Gabriel Magalhaes will anchor the defence as the senior centre-back. Alongside him, the teenage defender Marley Salmon could be afforded a rare opportunity to prove himself at this level. This is exactly the kind of game the FA Cup is designed to give young players. Salmon is a serious talent and this will be a genuine test of his composure. At right back, Christian Mosquera provides solid, defensively sound cover. The Spaniard signed in the summer and has adapted well to the Premier League's demands. Jurriën Timber, versatile and technically excellent, could slot in on the left, covering the Lewis-Skelly suspension with the intelligence and positioning that makes him one of Arsenal's most flexible assets. In midfield, this is where it gets interesting. Declan Rice is the anchor. He is always the anchor. Rice has been one of the best midfielders in Europe this season, and even in a rotated cup lineup, you do not leave Declan Rice on the bench for a game like this. You need his experience, his reading of the game, and his ability to control a match against opponents who will try to make it ugly and direct. Alongside Rice, Christian Norgard, signed from Brentford in the summer, offers that experienced, combative presence in a second midfield role. And with Odegaard rested, the creative responsibility could fall to Eberechi Eze, whose individual quality and ability to pick the lock on a defensive setup makes him ideally suited for a cup tie like this. In the forward line, Gabriel Jesus leads the attack. And this is where I want to highlight one of the most staggering statistics you will hear in this video. Gabriel Jesus has never lost any of the 19 cup games he has played against lower league opposition in his entire career. He has scored 20 goals in those games. 20 goals. He turns up, he delivers, he relishes exactly this kind of occasion. Alongside him, Noni Madueke on one side brings directness and pace that will give Mansfield's fullbacks a torrid afternoon. On the other flank, Gabriel Martinelli's energy and work rate are ideal for a game where Arsenal need to press high and suffocate any Mansfield attempt to build. This is a lineup with genuine Premier League quality. Even rotated, Arsenal have too much for League One opposition on almost any surface. I want to be fair here because Mansfield deserve to have their threat analysed seriously. Nigel Clough will set up defensively first. Low block, compact shape, 2 banks of 4, possibly a 5-man defence, designed to deny Arsenal space in behind and force them to play in front of a parked bus. The plan will be to frustrate, make it physical, and wait for a moment, a set piece, a mistake, a long throw, a deflection, that gives them a foothold. Lewis Reed is the player to watch. He is the heart of this Mansfield team. His delivery from set pieces, his leadership, his ability to produce a moment of individual quality out of nothing, as he proved against Burnley, make him the most likely source of a Mansfield goal if one comes. If there is a free kick in a dangerous position at any point tomorrow, every Arsenal defender needs to know where Lewis Reed is. George Abbott, on loan from Tottenham Hotspur, and eligible for tomorrow's cup tie, adds another dimension in midfield. He is young, energetic, and technically sound. He will not be intimidated by the occasion in the way some lower league players might be. The physical threat is real too. Mansfield are not a team that plays football prettily. They fight, they win second balls, they put the pressure on. If Arsenal are not sharp in the first 15 minutes, if they come out tentatively on that pitch, Mansfield will smell it. And the crowd, a full house, an electric atmosphere will lift them. Clough mentioned this week how fans still talk about the 4th round FA Cup tie against Liverpool in 2013, when Mansfield took them all the way before a controversial Luis Suarez goal settled it late on. He knows what a result tomorrow would mean, not just for the club, for everyone connected to it. The players know this might be the biggest game of their lives. That kind of motivation is not to be underestimated. Let me give you some of the facts that make this match genuinely fascinating. As a piece of football history, Arsenal and Mansfield have not played each other for 97 years. The only previous meeting between these clubs was in the 4th round of the FA Cup in February 1929. At Highbury, Arsenal won 2-0. This is the second longest gap Arsenal have had between fixtures against any single opponent, behind only the gap between Arsenal and Lincoln City, who did not meet between 1915 and 2017. This is only the 5th time in Mansfield Town's entire history that they have reached the 5th round of the FA Cup. The last time they got here was in the 1974-75 season 51 years ago. The only time they have ever gone further, reaching the quarter-finals, was in 1968-69. 57 years ago. Arsenal have only reached the FA Cup 5th round twice under Mikel Arteta. The first time they did, they went on to win the trophy in 2019-20. That is a fact Arteta's squad will be very aware of when they step off that team bus tomorrow morning. And for those of you wondering whether a League One side can seriously threaten Arsenal in this competition, the last team from the 3rd tier or below to knock Arsenal out of the FA Cup were Wrexham in the 1991-92 season. That is 34 years without a lower league team beating Arsenal in this competition. Mansfield would be making history if they win tomorrow, and history in the FA Cup is always alive. There is a personal thread running through this tie that I find genuinely compelling. Nigel Clough faces Arsenal as a manager for the first time tomorrow, but he has faced Mikel Arteta before, not as a head coach, but as an assistant. When Arteta was Pep Guardiola's deputy at Manchester City, City faced Burton Albion in the EFL Cup semi-finals. City won across 2 legs by an aggregate scoreline of 10-0. 10-0, that is not a typo. And yet here is Clough, a decade on, facing the man who was in the opposite dugout that night, now as one of the most progressive and successful managers in European football. If Clough can find a way to cause Arsenal problems, tomorrow, that narrative becomes one of the great redemption stories in cup football. I doubt Arteta is overlooking that history, but I equally doubt Clough has forgotten it. Arsenal win this game. I genuinely believe that, not because I am an Arsenal supporter, but because the talent differential between a Premier League leader and a League One side sitting above the relegation zone, even on a heavy pitch, is simply too large. But here is what I also believe. This game will not be easy. Mansfield will make it physical. They will make it ugly if they can. They will target set pieces. They will press the ball high in those first 10 minutes and try to rattle Arsenal's rotated lineup. The atmosphere at the One Call Stadium will be something Arsenal's squad players have not experienced in a long time. And that noise and that pressure matters. If Arsenal score early, this is over by half-time. If the game stays goalless past the half-hour mark, then Mansfield will believe. And if Mansfield believe in that stadium, on that pitch, you will not find a football fan on earth who is not watching. Gabriel Jesus delivers in these moments. Noni Madueke has the pace to expose Mansfield on the counter. Declan Rice controls tempo better than almost any midfielder in England. And with Kepa, Mosquera, Gabriel and Eze all looking to make statements for their place in Arteta's plans for the bigger games ahead, the motivation within Arsenal's squad is real. My prediction is Arsenal 2, Mansfield 0. A professional performance, Jesus on the score sheet, a clean sheet, job done. On to Leverkusen on Wednesday. But I will be watching every second of this one, because the FA Cup never lets you be completely comfortable. That is exactly why we love it. Come back to this channel after the final whistle tomorrow. Full match reaction, full performance breakdown, and the latest on Arsenal's squad ahead of that Bayer Leverkusen Champions League tie on Wednesday. If you have not subscribed yet, do it now. Every Arsenal supporter who is serious about following this club belongs on this channel. Like this video. Drop your prediction for tomorrow's game in the comments below. Do you think Mansfield can do it, or is this Arsenal's day? I want to hear from you. I am Andrew. This is Andy Gunners Live. Come on, you Gunners.